Good morning, First Unitarian Universalist Church of Springfield, Missouri. Hi, y'all. My name is Adam Rowland. I am originally from St. Louis, Missouri, currently living here in Berkeley, California, on Ohlone territory in what's traditionally known as Wichin Village. And I was graced to meet AJ, I think back in 2006. Riding my bike into Springfield. I think that's how we met. Playing a show. And back then, I was playing a lot of political anthems and real fiery songs. And this is one of those songs I wrote because, well, in addition to many other aspects of my being, I was female assigned at birth. I'm a genderqueer, transmasculine, transgender, transsexual. I am not what they thought I was at birth, for sure. And like many of us, I have experienced and continue to experience a lot of anxiety when going into gendered spaces such as bathrooms. Other than my own bathroom, which is where you will find me today, literally sitting on the toilet. The toilet seat is closed, and I do have pants on. But you know, as a white person, and as somebody who presents masculine, I don't face as much discrimination, unsafety, or fear as so many people who just need to use the toilet, you know, or the urinal, or whatever it may be. But there were times in my life where I was perhaps perceived as more androgynous, and so going into those spaces was not only not comfortable, but sometimes not safe. And the legal parameters around it were unknown to me. Could I get arrested going into a men's restroom because that's not what it said on my ID? And you know, when we try to simplify things, sometimes they get real complicated. And as I think we might agree, it's hard to put anything into two categories, especially when it comes to the species of being human. So, without further ado, this is one of those political anthems from way back in the day called Bathrooms, Boxes, Binary. Well, I really have to urinate, and I don't want to have to wait. But no matter which bathroom I'm choosing, folks could swear I made some mistake. You got two stick figures on the door. Well, I'm not quite sure what they stand for. One's wearing a triangle, both look quite unadorned. So I go into the one I was taught is good to go. But the shrieks and dirty looks got me thinking it ain't so. Plus I ain't wearing no triangle, so I guess I'll get to going. Well, I figures it must be door number 2. The process of elimination has got to be true, but I can't pee in no urinal, and the stall is in use. Oh, bathrooms, you've got me holding my pee. Oh, bathrooms, you got me holding my pee. Now I'm pretty sure that's not what a bathroom is for. But it's funny how things become something they're not when we try to make things so simple and we just complicate them. Like, for instance, you ever notice how many times you are asked to check the box that says M or F? Well, you know what? I've been an F. I've been an M. And now, in California, the state I live in, there is another option. I think it's X. They have a third gendered option, so now I have a state ID with a third gendered option, and you cannot You can see my smiles on my ID going from this to this to this with every letter change. So you got 2 boxes and you got to check one. Check M or F boxes, leave no room for fun. But I'm not sure what they're asking, so I draw my own octagon. 'Cause if I check F and they see M, would they stick me in jail with a bunch of men? Or would they legally search me 'cause my gender just confuses them? And if I check M and they see F, am I more likely to be under arrest? Or would they subject me to some silly psychological test? You know, I mentioned having white privilege. I mentioned now having what they call passing privilege. I guess I pass as a man even though I'm not necessarily man identified. But all sorts of reasons why I'm protected by systems of oppression, and yet still these fears are internalized, and some of these things have actually happened. And it's amazing when you stand outside of those 2 boxes what kinds of things people feel entitled to ask you or to do to you or to assume about you. Well, these boxes are so limiting, all our genders just ain't fitting. You don't need to know what's in my pants unless I'm letting you in with full consent. Oh, boxes, you've got me so confused. Oh, boxes, you got me so darn confused. So I originally wrote this song as an education tool. I sure knew about the gender binary and how it didn't work for me, but a lot of people were kind of new to it. And of course we're new to it, we're taught even before we're out of the womb. People want to know more than our health, more than our name. Are you a boy or are you a girl? So ended up getting a lot of college gigs out of this one, and the gender studies professors would send their students for extra credit. It was a good gig. And unfortunately, years later, it's still relevant. But I think maybe a little bit more welcomed. So thank you for listening to it. Well, it's so binary, these gender norms, these behaviors, these constructs we must conform. But 2 options are so limiting. 2 options got me torn. But if you play the part and you fit the protocol, well, that's great. Just leave room for the rest of us all. The gender queers and variants, the transgender folks and transsexuals. Oh, binary, I'm so darn through. I think we would all be much better off without the likes of you. Thanks again for listening, and I'll be back for a couple more songs.